All right, so we're here with Dimitry Rutenburg. He is a physical therapist. So tell me about yourself, your background, like where your parents are from and stuff like that, if you're like an only child.
So I am an only child. Me and my family are from the old Soviet Union, Belarus to be exact. I was actually born there myself, and we moved to America when I was a little baby. And I grew up in New York. I lived in New York up until I went to college in Albany. And that's kind of where I got my start with PT.
All right, so what made you want to become a physical therapist?
So when I was in college and I had the opportunity to intern at the sports medicine department at my school, I was paired up with the baseball team actually, and more particularly the pitching squad. So I spent a lot of time doing therapies with them, going to all their training sessions. I went to all the games, and I helped mostly help the trainers administer the therapies and kind of make sure the athletes had what they needed. And that kind of got me into the realm of physical therapy and kind of went that way.
Did you have any other career choices besides PT?
I was considering going to medical school or chiropractic school, and I just kind of weighed my options based on where I wanted to live and kind of my current situation at the time. And PT school was just the best fit for me at the time. I like being active and I like being on my feet, so kind of right up my alley.
So, what would you recommend for students who want to become a PT?
What would I recommend for students who want to become a PT? They should inquire about what opportunities are available to them going forward after that. Like, for example, like what particular setting would you like to work in, or is there anything in particular that you wanted to do, and see if that kind of matches up with the opportunities that going to PT school gives you. And if that's the case, then go for it.
Did you always wanted to work with athletes?
Yeah, I like sports, so that's kind of my thing. Pretty much any and every sport. And interestingly enough, PT got me involved with other sports that I wasn't into before, like golf. So.
Yeah, not that many people like golf.
I know. PTs like it because there's a lot of complicated movements and a lot of different things to know about it.
All right. So what made you want to move down here to Florida?
Have you ever been to New York?
No.
It's cold, it's rainy, and it's disgusting. And it's beautiful and warm down here, so that was pretty much an easy choice.
Yeah.
I just had to wait for the right opportunity to make it down here, which actually presented itself after working for a year. I was due for my next job, and I was just thinking, now's the time to do it, if ever. So I just kind of packed up my stuff, made my way down here.
Did you have like any job offers after PT school?
So actually, yes, I had a friend who was already a PT who was opening up a second location, and they kind of brought me on to help them open that up initially. And that's where I worked for the first year and a half almost.
Was PT school pretty hard?
Was it pretty hard? I guess to each their own. I mean, I liked it, so it wasn't hard for me. Maybe the hardest thing would be like all the tedious like assignments and like reading, like stuff like that. I wasn't a huge fan of research class, which took a lot of writing and reading. I like all the science stuff.
Did you guys work with cadavers?
We did. Gross anatomy lab. So some people didn't love that. I didn't mind it too much. I thought it was pretty interesting, except for the fact that you have to work on the same cadaver body throughout the semester, which gets a little towards the end.
All right, so did you know like what kind of patients you always wanted to work with, or?
So if you ask PT students that question, probably 90% of them are going to tell you they want to work with athletes. And probably 10% of us actually end up doing that. So you really don't know until you get out into the workplace and kind of get your feet wet and start doing things and kind of seeing how things work, because it's never what you expect it to be. So yeah.
So how long did it take you to become a PT?
4 plus 3, so that was 3 years after college. And then after school, I pretty much just started studying for my boards right away. And I even started working before that with a temporary license, because you get like a temporary license between graduating and passing your boards. So I worked on it right away.
At any point, did you want to quit physical therapy school?
Oh yeah, a couple. Listen, it's grad school, so it's hard. There's a lot of assignments. There's a lot of work. It's not easy. So there were a few times where I was contemplating quitting and doing something else for my career, but I ended up just sticking with it and finishing. Here I am.
Do you have like any future plans for your career?
Well, the big picture, the big idea is to be my own business owner. Did I say that weird? My own business owner, yeah. And I'll have my own clinic. That's the idea. Not sure exactly when, but hopefully soon.
Do you feel like you're on the right track?
I feel like I'm on the right track, yeah. But this coronavirus situation kind of put a dent into plans that I had, so got to go with the flow and figure it out.
So how is this like coronavirus affecting you seeing patients? Like, are you being affected or?
So we're seeing probably like 30 to 40% of our normal patients, of our normal caseload. So that's one thing. People didn't feel safe leaving their houses. So if there's no patients to treat, nobody's making any money and nobody's getting any treatment. So there's not really much to do there. So until this is all over, those plans are kind of on hold.
So what got you into fitness? Like, were you active as a child?
I grew up like playing sports around the neighborhood, like everybody else. But I got into swimming in high school, and then for a brief period of time, I wasn't really into doing anything fitness wise, like during college and PT school, maybe because I was so busy. But afterwards, when I was already working as a PT, I started slowly getting into fitness, and most recently, I've been getting into like different endurance sports, like swimming and running and biking. So I ended up doing a half marathon this past winter, and I did a triathlon in the fall before that. So I'm hoping to continue all that once this coronavirus epidemic ends, and we can get back to normal lives.
How'd you do in the half marathon?
Actually, I did pretty well. I broke 2 hours, which was my goal. So I finished in one piece, but it was actually pretty fun. It's a pretty fun event. Surprising to see so many people too doing it.
Did you see like a lot of like older people?
Actually, yes. There was there was a bunch of them where I was pretty surprised that they were running half marathons and full marathons.
Did you feel intimidated?
No, not really. I'm pretty good with stuff like that. I can get into the zone and kind of play my own game, run my own race, so to say.
All right. Do you have any last words or advice for people who want to do PT?
Good luck and stay in school.